So we are in a crisis. I'll put my glasses on. In a crisis where we don't own anything and the people that do are playing in our faces. It's really a problem. So there is a shutdown, national shutdown from the 23rd of September, like Heritage Day. From then, it's not a one-day thing where slowly but surely we stop using everything. And you're thinking, how is this going to happen? Now, we need to stop giving our money to every company that plays in our face. However you can do it, you need to do it. I'll send somebody explaining it really well. My plug will explain it to you. So yes, and everything needs to shut down. I think this would really help us include our own local, I don't want to say local, our own brands and small businesses, that we support those. I know you've seen something like this before. We've had this before. But then we have to start doing this. These things, people take long, it's vague. I want to stop going to Checkers. What's my alternative? The places around me, it's the closest place to me. So what's the solution? You see, we need to slowly get to those solutions. So it starts then. Until they see that we're serious, until the government sees that we're serious, it's these companies, it's the government. My plug will explain.
You need to mobilize where you can, and you need to, like, a little goes a long way. We're so many, bruh. A little goes a long way. As long as you stop major parts that businesses depend on. Like then, there's no way I'm gonna protest all the way to like union buildings. But R21 is like right here. You understand? Or Tom Jones, Banyan. It's like the heart of town. Shut that down. You shut down R21. People who are in town, they go to like union buildings, you know, and maybe let's say they block out Reserve Bank or anything like that. But it's most important is that a lot of things must not function. As much as they own everything, we must just disturb that. People are not going to be coming to work and stuff like that. People are going to be losing a lot of money. Especially the ones at the top, they're going to be losing a lot of money, especially if ever majority of the businesses, they do not make that much sales. Understand that? They don't make that much sales. Like, they don't make much money. They have to lose money starting from September 24th, moving all the way until we win with what we are doing. You understand? It's not a one-day thing. Because it becomes a one-day thing, it dies out quickly, and it's going to add more discouragement. People are going to see that even if we band together and try to do something, it's discouraging. The main objective is not for it to happen on one day. We have to start on that day where everyone is not doing anything and not going anywhere. There's a reason why I even chose a holiday. It's because no one will be obligated to go. Majority of people will not be obligated to go to work. Those numbers are the ones to ensure that even the ones who are supposed to go to work, you're not going. You're not going to work. So malls are not opening and shit like that. In terms of food security and everything like that, that's why there has to be certain things that we work towards to ensure that people are not, starving or anything like that. We help each other with these things, working together. It's almost impossible, but it's still doable.
On the 24th of September, we're having a National Youth March. If you are in Pretoria, you're going to meet the people at the Union Building. Cape Town, same applies. These are some of the tips that I have. Wear all black so that you don't stand out. Wear something that covers your tattoos, your ears, as well as this bridge. Maybe put on some makeup. Have a water bottle with water in case you or your partners or the people you'll be working with get pepper sprayed. Pepper spray is very painful. Water rinses it out. Carry it. Disable location services on your phone if you're going to take your phone along. If you don't take it along, write important numbers somewhere on your body whereby it won't be erased. If you decide to take videos of the protest, ensure that you blur out faces of the people who will be protesting with you. Layer up clothing to protect yourself from rubber bullets. Do not post yourself at the location of the protest because police will arrest you if they find out you were there. Disable face lock and fingerprint lock so that if you are bringing your phone along to take videos, when the police arrest you, they will force you to unlock your phone. Passwords are safer than fingerprint and face lock. They will force you to unlock your phone. Disable those features. Do not wear sandals, wear boots or turkeys. If you're going to be at the back when police start shooting, do not panic. You will scare the people who are at the front lines. The people who are at the front lines are the ones who are supposed to move away when the police start shooting. The people who are going to be frontliners, ensure that you have heat-proof gloves so that when they throw the gas canisters at you, you can pick them up and throw them back at the police. Have a face mask or a bandana so that when they start shooting tear gas, you have something to, cover yourself with. The safety goggles that the construction workers were wearing, if you can get maybe 5 pairs and you're going to be in the front lines so that you can pass on to the other people who are going to be in the front lines, this will help them be protected from the tear gas. If you decide to carry a backpack, ensure that there's water, snacks, a scarf, saline solution, goggles, scarf or earplugs.
Right guys, so 24th of September is the date that's going around. Now the EFF Student Council released the date saying the 2nd of October. How far is the 2nd of October? Come on. And the thing is guys, we need to formalize this, right? We need to formalize this because of course we can't just have this happening in one spot of the country. We have to have it happening everywhere. And it's going to be after a holiday too, so no excuses.
Africa is on the brink of civil war. We are almost at the tipping point. We have been so disrespected by our government that they don't understand. Right now, it will take one catalyst, one set of events, one person. Something is going to cause an uprising in South Africa. The inequality gap is widening. The middle class can no longer differentiate itself from the poor. The middle class is holding on for dear life. And the few people that hold the wealth in the economy are getting richer and richer and richer, and they are doing so in such an unethical fashion that it is pure disrespect thrown in the face of the everyday South African citizen. The spirit of the time is war, civil war, destruction, anarchy, chaos. Look at Nepal, look at Indonesia, look at France. In order to effect radical change in governance, they had to go to war for that shit. That's the same point that is going to be reached in South Africa. The same point that was reached during apartheid. But this revolution will be greater than the apartheid revolution. This revolution will be an unled revolution, a more dangerous revolution, a revolution without racial divisions. The only division is economy. And once people band together and realize their power, our government is in big shit. The upper class of the economy is in big shit. Because everyone at the top is enjoying the land of milk and honey that is South Africa. But the 80 to 90% at the bottom are growing more and more frustrated by the day. It is going to take one catalyst, one set of events to trigger it, and there will be chaos in South Africa. Mark my words.
Why do people suddenly find compassion when evil men die? The way people are reacting to the annihilation of Charlie Kirk is making me realize that if we had social media during apartheid, you guys would have felt sorry for Hendrik Verwoerd when he got popped. Charlie Kirk and Hendrik Verwoerd are the same brand of poison. They hold the same views and beliefs. Both men built their careers on white supremacy and Christian nationalism. Charlie Kirk spent his whole life spewing poison, spreading hatred, and supporting groups that openly harm marginalized communities. He was not a neutral commentator. He was an ideologue, just like Verwoerd. Both men weaponized ideology to dehumanize millions of people. But the moment they faced consequences for doing that, suddenly the whole world is expected to just forget and treat them like innocent victims. Oscar Wilde said it best: some men improve the world only by leaving it. Men like Charlie Kirk and Hendrik Verwoerd should live in fear because they introduced fear into the hearts of everyone they oppressed. I'm so sick and tired of these right-wing conservatives. And if what I'm saying is making you uncomfortable, maybe you should ask yourself why you're so desperate to defend people who dedicated their lives to spreading hatred.
This system that you're holding on to is collapsing. What do you have to fall back on? They're about to pull the rug from right under your feet while you sleep. By the time you wake up, you have nothing. I've never been a politician. In fact, I thought if I go the spiritual route, I can avoid ever having to deal with politics. But as I grow old and I have children, I realize that part of self-advocacy is being aware of the politics around and choosing to have a voice, because if I do not, then I'm partially to blame for the injustices that may be suffered by my children in the future. TikTok, this is for entertainment purposes only. There is a soft coup unraveling Mzansi right under our noses. And the media propaganda that we experienced in the past few months, the one about farmers, is part of the strategy. What do you mean we are planning to decentralize government? What do you mean that we are planning to become autonomous communities in South Africa? We are busy looking at Cape Town. Cape Town is distraction. Cape Town is one of the communities. It's not the only communities. It's only one of the communities that is looking for sovereignty within South Africa. There are people that are planning to turn South Africa into a multiple states. I'm minding my business and this information just comes to me and I don't like it. They said this by themselves. They need 30% of sleeping black voters to decentralize the government and effectively become societies that can rule themselves in this country. You're busy thinking when you've got a country. Other communities in South Africa are already planning systems that they will fall back on. When you are busy crying about tribalism, we know who holds the majority of the resources in South Africa, and if they pull themselves into a sovereign community, into an autonomous community, do you think they will invite you? Abelungu bakhathele ukondla wena. Do you think they want you to be part of that community? Do you think they want your poverty to come and bother their community? They're gonna push you to Eastern Cape and say, then they'll say self-govern there. What are you gonna do? What do you have? What systems do you have? They will pull their resources, pull their systems. What are you going to fall back on? Wake up. Because if you don't wake up, the society that's coming is going to affect my sons. I don't feel like I have much power, but I have a voice. And if I can reach you today and tell you that it is time to pull together. You can't always be beaten by Ababantu. It is time for you to plan, to organize, to unite, and to plan a system, an alternative system. It can start as a system within the system, but it is time for you to build something of your own that you can fall back on should the system be pulled from underneath your feet. You don't know what's coming. These people are not going to give up without a fight. and the fight is for your land. Do you want to become just another marginalized group of people with no power, living on handouts, being a state of charity?
You know, guys, I'm pissed. Operation Tutula movement is harassing South African people. This started as a movement of hate against immigrants. Everybody saw it. But now, they are harassing South African people. How can you ask someone to prove they are South African by asking them to speak a native language of South Africa? Clearly, you are not trained officials. You have no authority to handle immigration. The only right any South African citizen has the right to report suspicious acts or anyone breaking the law. But Tutula movement, they are not the law. And the horrible thing is, they are targeting black people only because in their mind, the world doesn't care if black people fight each other. Donald Trump is not gonna have a problem. I don't expect him to. He's white and he defends his own people. Well, I'm an African. I speak for my people. If you're going to harass me, I'll exercise my right and report you for intimidation, for revoking my right to access and limiting my freedom of movement. You know, those times are over in South Africa where South African has to carry IDs and don't pass over. I don't want to see that repeated, especially by my own people. You know, this constitution black people are trying to protect, it's written by white people. How can a constitution that limit access to immigrants be in our constitution? Because South African people have heritage all across the borders. I'm saying this because Nelson Mandela himself was arrested trying to flee South Africa illegally based on that constitution to ask help on outside countries as an immigrant. So why would somebody like Nelson Mandela be voting a constitution like that? I understand people today, they're trying to protect it, but white people they were doing it to protect their own investment. So what are you protecting? What investment a black person has here? Africans have suffered enough. We have more pressing issues. Apartheid is not over yet. We haven't reached the promised land yet. So let's focus on how are we going to get the land.
When people hear the word colored, usually they think of South Africa. But there's a forgotten history. Zambia had its own colored community, and the way they were treated tells us a lot about race, shame, and colonial control. Historian Juliet Milner Thornton shows that in northern Rhodesia, today's Zambia, children born to white fathers and African mothers were seen as a national embarrassment. Officials called them living reminders of white men who refused to acknowledge their children. And instead of acceptance, they were pushed to the margin. Too African for Europeans and too European for Africans. But it didn't stop there. By the 1950s, white officials began trying to formalize coloredness as its own category. Within just 17 years, the government had launched 7 separate inquiries into the status of colored people. The most detailed was the 1950 Creft Committee, which examined their housing, education, jobs, and even their rights. That committee recommended adopting the South African term colored as a blanket category for Euro-Africans, Indo-Africans, and immigrant coloreds. And from then, coloredness was slowly constructed as a collective identity in Zambia, not fully legislated like in South Africa, but socially enforced all the same. So on one hand, Zambia's colored people were erased, treated as a source of shame, and on the other, the state was actively creating a separate class for them, debating their place, defining their rights, but never giving them equality. For South Africans, this history matters. It shows that colored identity isn't just a South African phenomenon. Across the SADC region, colonial governments had to face the same reality of white fathers abandoning their children, while South Africa built a whole system on it. Zambia tried to hide it, and then institutionalize it. So the next time colored identity comes up and people says it begins and ends with South Africa, remember Northern Rhodesia, where an entire community lived as both a reminder of shame and the product of state classification.